TDC here, once again on Quick Clips. So, guys, every now and then we have this conversation about whether or not Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. You have people like Dana White on one hand saying Jon Jones is the greatest of all time, and he gives his reasons why. And then you have people on the other hand who suggest that Khabib Nurmagomedov is the greatest of all time. And there are valid arguments for both of them, right? But the one thing that really irks my nerves whenever I hear people trying to give a counter argument to Khabib, or Khabib's legacy, or Khabib's record, or the reasons why Khabib is in the conversation, one of the reasons I hear people say is that they say Khabib cannot be in the conversation of greatest of all times in MMA because Khabib did not fight anybody that is notable. And I'm like, that doesn't make much sense. To say Khabib has fought unknowns. He fought too many unknowns. I'm like, wait a minute. Everybody, first and foremost, everybody that we consider as a GOAT, or everybody who's in the GOAT conversation for MMA, everybody on that list, they all have losses. Jon Jones has losses. Technically, won no contest, but it was still a loss because he was disqualified by using the 12 to 6 elbow. Fedor Emelianenko, the great emperor, or the last emperor, Fedor has losses. George St. Pierre, one of the greatest of all time, has losses. Anderson Silva, more than enough losses. Conor McGregor also has losses. The only person in the GOAT conversation who doesn't have a loss is Khabib Nurmagomedov. And people say, well, Khabib fought unknowns, too many unknowns. Guys, can I take you back to the list of people I just called out? Tell me, if you guys, I have a valid question for you. Guys, tell me which person on the conversation that I've just called, the GOAT list, tell me who has a fight record of known fighters. All the greats have people in their records who are unknown, especially people they fought early in their career. Who was the first person Anderson Silva fought? Exactly, you don't know who that is. And I'm speaking about professional career now, not even the amateur career. Who was the first person Jon Jones fought? Oh, you don't know. What about GSP? Who was GSP's first or even second fighter or fight? His first opponents for GSP. You guys don't know them. Who's Conor's first 4 fights? Exactly. You guys don't know who the first or early fighters of all the greats are. So why is that a valid argument or a valid point when describing Khabib's fight record? Khabib is the only one in the GOAT conversation who never lost a fight, guys. Guys, do you understand? You guys know in our sport how hard that is to do. I don't care if you've had 10 fights. To win 10 fights and no losses professionally, that is crazy. And the guy went on to win, what was it? 29 fights. Right? And if you want to spin the block, let me give you a list of Khabib's last 8 fights. Last 8 fights before he left the UFC. Rafael dos Anjos, Darrell Horcher, Michael Johnson, Edson Barbosa, Al Quinta, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. In that list, Rafael dos Anjos was a former lightweight champion. Conor McGregor is a former featherweight champion and a former light champion, and the first man in the UFC to hold 2 belts simultaneously, the first double champ of the UFC. Justin Gaethje, the former BMF title champion, a lightweight interim champion. Dustin Poirier, former interim champion and multiple time contender. What are we talking about? He's beaten champions and former champions and known killers. You can't argue that Justin Gaethje isn't a killer. You can't argue that Dustin Poirier isn't a killer. Even Conor. So what are we talking about, guys? Khabib has fought people. He's fought known people. And this guy has gone as far as never losing a round. Let's end the conversation. Khabib is in the conversation for greatest of all times. Period. By the way, he has no PED records. None. No picograms. No cheating, no doping. That's the end of this conversation. TDC out. Peace.